Hey, happy baseball day to everybody. You know, we are going head to head with the World Series, and
got
only
nothing on
the
us.
Baseball Brew Crew podcast could do that, right?
Nothing on us.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, David, thank you so much. We have no idea. Well, I can't say that. I should say me, because I've been setting up the show for the last hour and a half. But I have no idea who's winning, who's losing. Throw it in the chat if you're watching the game and watching us at the same time. We definitely appreciate it.
I meant to turn on my telly and do that. Oh, well.
Your telly.
Yes. I need my stories. You understand? I just had to replace my telly. And I don't know if I can even get Fox on it, so I might have time to really find out. So, oh, well. I know that Freddie Freeman already hit a home run tonight.
Did he really? Oh,
yes,
that is he's having an amazing series.
Yeah, 5 straight games, I think he's hit a home run.
That is crazy. And as someone who had him on his fantasy baseball team, I thought that he was pretty well done right at the end when he got hurt. And so
he's had a lot going on.
Oh, that's the least of his troubles for sure. So, but we don't talk about modern baseball on the podcast here. We talk about old baseball, but we understand there's things going on. So, hey, why don't we do a show tonight? And this is a big one, and we're going to do 6 more Diamond Icons. But let's get to it. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Baseball Brew Crew Podcast. We are keeping baseball history alive, one craft beer at a time, wherever you are watching or listening to us. Please give us a like and a follow. And if you love beer with your baseball, please tell a friend. Here is the lineup card for today. Hitting first, the newest acquisition, the first international signing of the Baseball Brew Crew. It is the Big Hurt, Allan Jepsen. How are you doing tonight?
Any day where I can have a craft beer with my mates from different states is a good day to me.
Love it. Love it. Batting second is the field correspondent and senior research analyst for the Baseball Brew Crew. You may notice his camera zooming in and out tonight. A new feature here at the Baseball Brew Crew. We did not plan it, but it's it's a premium service we've put on Kevin's camera. It is Kevin Lyon. Welcome.
Good to be here. I feel like I want to be like Humpty Hump and Humpty Hump goes vroom, vroom, and see what happens in the camera, you know. But hey, I got outside to Allan's intro. We now have not just people from different states, we have people from different countries, different provinces. You know, let me just throw the province out there. Cheers to the BC, you know. But happy to be here as always, and just ready for a good time.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for being here. Batting in the 3-hole is the Goodwill ambassador, the Sultan of Swig at the Baseball Brew Crew, Cowboy Jack Durango.
From coast to coast, you can hear him screaming for the mayor of Hop City, the Baseball Brew Crew's own million-view man. For the next hour, this PSA Gym Mint 11 is going to be dropping auditory armed robbery for your enjoyment and entertainment. To quote the Bible, more specifically the book of Revelations, "Behold, there comes a pale horse, and the man that sat upon him, his name was Cowboy Jack Durango, and hell followed with him. Let's start the show."
Well done. I didn't get both those nicknames. PSA Gym Mint 11.
Got it.
That's the mayor of Hop City. Thank you. I'm writing that to the list. It's 60 nicknames, Jack. That's the 60 right now. The mayor.
Those are rookie numbers, bro. We got to get those numbers up.
Hey, man. You know what? We took a little hiatus. We'll get there.
I love it. I love that every intro now is a promo. So it's soon this is going to be the longest segment of the show. Well, as always, we enjoy a new and unique craft beer. Every one of us brings one in, except for Cowboy Jack Durango, who will be talking about a brewery. So what craft beer are you drinking tonight? If you're enjoying a craft beer with us in the chat, please let us know what you're drinking. I'm going to start off with Allan.
Yeah, today I got a con leche horchata style milk stout from Twin Sails Brewing in Port Moody, British Columbia. It's coming in at 7.5%, 18 IBU. brewed with a variety of malts and coffees. It's thick, creamy. It's got cinnamon, vanilla. It's delicious stout.
Nice. Is this readily available where you're at, or did you have to go out of your way to get this?
It's not too far from my house. It was about 30 minutes. We were down there, Brewers Row in Port Moody this past weekend, where they have 6 breweries and like all just in a line, and decided this is the one I wanted to pick up. So
nice. And so when I first got into craft beer, my girlfriend and we used to do craft beer events for these. It was a craft beer festival, so we got to know all these different and unique craft beers in California. One of them that we kind of really, I can't say that it was readily available, but it was kind of a unique beer that they had. It was horchata stout. So I noticed that this has horchata, obviously, but it was kind of a revelation that you could actually use like a rice drink in a craft beer. But so is this is this one of the styles that they push, or is it known for this?
They do a bunch of milk stouts there at Twin Sails. They do like a cookie one, and they just do a variety of ones throughout the year. They kind of have one on tap at all times. So this seems like their fall one. I think they do like I said, a milk and cookies stout kind of thing in the summertime, something like that. So, but I just like the kind of the Day of the Dead kind of can. And so.
Oh, very nice.
Right time of the year for it.
Yes, and it's a very unique beer too, because we don't have many. We don't get many stouts on the show.
No,
I'm just trying to switch it up a little bit. So not just trying to stay away from just the lagers and pilsners, and going with some stouts and hazies and everything else.
That proves exactly why you, as our first international signing, was a brilliant signing, because you're bringing a whole nother wheelhouse of beer to the show, man.
Yes.
Yeah, because longtime viewers are going to know, like Michael and I, IPA all day, brother.
Yes. I love it. Thank you so much for doing that. Cowboy Jack, you are up next. Oh, actually, I'm sorry.
No, that's mine.
That's Kevin's. My bad. Sorry about that.
You know what? I said all day, every day, but for me, not today, believe it or not. This is not an IPA. So this beer here is called Halloween Parade. It's by Villains Brewing from my stomping grounds, where I've stomped on a lot of sidewalks. Let's say sidewalks is what I've been stomping on, and the stomping grounds of beautiful Anaheim, California. And this comes in at 5.5. It's more of like a German lager, best beer kind of style. So I'll read you their description. We were going for classic German lager here, biscuity and crackery from the German heirloom malt, with a little bit of floral and herb promo flavor from the German hot side. Halatada! I'm just going to say it like that. Tradition Hop Edition. Medium light body with a snappy bitterness in the finish. Made to celebrate, and why I'm wearing this shirt. Sorry, the 100th anniversary of the Anaheim Halloween Parade. So last year was the 100th parade, but this year's the 100th anniversary of the parade. And there you go right there. There is actually a little float that Villains Brewing actually had as part of the parade. So I'm like, the minute I heard about this, and also proceeds from buying this 4-pack of this beer went to the parade. So I'm like, oh. So even before I taste this beer, I'm like, I got to get this beer. You know what I mean? I went over there, I think, it might have been after we did the show last week. I went over there and got a 4-pack. I'm like, I got to secure this for next week. And also, I got to give props. If you can go back to the artwork is by a local artist named Hayden Evans. It's a really cool can. I'm glad you have that there, so I don't have to show you, because that's a better version of what I have here. But yeah, just a good, nice 5.5% lager / best beer, and enjoy it and have a good time.
Yeah, I noticed in the description also it said similar to Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest.
Yes, yeah. And I haven't had one of theirs in a long time. I know I've had before, but it would have been a number of years. I don't always go for the Oktoberfest kind of stuff, but I'm like, well, it's that time of year, and it's the right time to do it.
Yeah, it's super cool, and I think was it last year that we went to that festival right there in Anaheim? Was that the same beer festival?
So we went to a beer festival called I think it's Fest or Firkenstein Fest. They do it the first Saturday in October, and part of the proceeds for that goes to the Halloween parade. And Villains had a booth there both years, because I went this year and you and I went last year, where it's just a little, like, just a good little circle of like 15, 20 breweries, and you have 4 hours to just have that and have a good time, you know? And I definitely had a good time this year.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it too is there was a lot of like Disney art there as well. That was and a lot of Disney artists. It's like that's the thing about being in Anaheim. There's a lot of Disney artists there.
And I still got photos. They have the Halloween tree right there too, which is like a tree
that's
that
right.
they just have like lit up pumpkins at nighttime, and it looks just so great for the season. You know, one of my favorite days of living here in Anaheim is the Anaheim Halloween parade, which literally almost ends in front of my house.
Yeah, so cool. All right, thank you so much, Cowboy Jack. You're up.
Desert Monks Brewing Company was founded in late 2018 in downtown Gilbert, Arizona by 5 brewing partners and has become a staple in the hip and happening downtown area. Their fun and inventive theme nights, such as Dungeons and Dragons Wednesdays, where they have an on-staff dungeon master lead you and your D&D squad through a beer-soaked campaign, and Tuesday Night Temptations, where you can bring a date and build your own charcuterie board with a carefully paired beer flight.
Nice.
It's officially fall here in the Valley of the Sun, and we can enjoy cooler than normal temperatures and venture out and explore what makes this area great without getting heat stroke by 9 a.m. And what better way to enjoy the taste of autumn than with a 2022 Arizona Craft Beer Awards gold medal winning Alewife's Pumpkin Pie Marzen by Desert Monks Brewing Company. But don't worry, my friends, if pumpkin beers don't hit the sweet spot in your beer wheelhouse, they brew up tart, tasty sours, crisp IPAs, blonde and amber ales, oatmeal stouts, boxed Hefeweizens, and many more, so they are bound to have something to suit your fancy. If you want advice from the Hop King, try them all. Just don't forget to let them know that the Valley of the Sun's favorite son, Cowboy Jack Durango, sent you.
Love it. Love it. And you know what, Jack? This brewery is probably legitimately like 3 miles from where I am right now.
You have to go. You have to go.
Oh,
they do trivia Thursdays. That would be your night.
I would clean up, right?
You would clean up.
You need Cowboy Jack as your tag team partner in this. You know, I'm sensing a good tag team here.
The Mega Powers are going to unite, brother.
Mega Powers, yeah. It's funny that you say that because a little foreshadowing there. The Mega Powers, yeah. All right. So thank you, Jack. I appreciate that. And I look forward to some real good beer from Desert Monks. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So my beer tonight, and this seems to be more, let's see, let me back up. 3 Floyds Brewing out of Munster in Indiana is my beer. And my beer is actually it's Munster Fest, the October Marzen by 3 Floyds Brewing. I have it as 2 Floyds here. What am I thinking? So this beer is actually pretty hard to get. Am I right, Kevin?
I've never found 3 Floyds here. I don't know if it is available, but somehow someone got one to me. I think it's one of those ones you can get sent to you in like some kind of subscription package to like, because there's those things, you know, right out there where you can buy like, oh, subscribe to this and every month we'll send you a handful of beers.
Yes. So 3 Floyds is a very sought after beer. Mm-hmm. And luckily I have a friend here who is a craft beer fanatic. And like he'll go to Russian River during the Pliny, when they do the Pliny releases. He'll also go back to other places in the Midwest. and he'll bring back a whole bunch of things. And he even told me that he will actually take a suitcase that he actually brings back with all of these great craft beers. So he'll bring back a whole bunch of Three Floyds beer, and then all of a sudden we had a beer exchange, and he goes, "Oh, you should take these." This was among them. This is a Marzen style fest beer brewed with the finest German malted barley, aromatic Bavarian noble hops, and traditional lager yeast. This rich malty lager is one of the few that remain true to the tradition of fest beers, originally brewed in the honor of the marriage of Prince Ludwig in 1810. And
yeah, of course, I was there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was local news at the time.
At least, please.
So Munster, Indiana, I wasn't aware where that was. It's actually Munster is in the Chicago metropolitan area, even though it's in Indiana. It's approximately 30 miles southeast of the Chicago Loop. It is 24 miles from Guaranteed Rate Park and 33 miles from Wrigley Field. That tells you kind of where it's at. But the beer, every beer that's I've gotten gifted from my source has been amazing. So Three Floyds is definitely one that you want to check out. This one was actually the debut of this beer was actually in 2002. So they've been doing it pretty over 20 years. And obviously Munsterfest, Oktoberfest, Munster, Indiana, it all ties in. But Three Floyds, if you ever see it, definitely check them out. They have a lot of other good juicy IPAs. They also have some fruit beers, and but everything that they put out is tremendous. So definitely check them out.
I can't believe that we had no IPAs.
Yes, that's very rare for the show.
Look at us. Look at us. We're expanding our horizons. And Allan is the one with the biggest ABV. So there you go.
Weird.
Probably a first in history.
Yep. Easily. All right, so let's do it. Those are our beers. Before I get started here, I wanted to, I'm going to remove this real quick. We're always remiss in doing this because we always have really cool gear. So Allan, I'm going to start with you. Tell me about what you're wearing tonight.
This is the Rocket City Lunaticos, picked up when Kevin and I went down south this year. So it's orange and black. They have a blue one as well. It was a real cool hat, and I went to the store, debated it, but 5 minutes later went back and bought it. So it really wasn't much convincing. So
it was on your mind. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it totally.
Yeah. So Alabama was on his mind, not Georgia on his mind, Michael.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Kevin, what are you wearing tonight?
I mean, I already showed this, but so this hat, oh my gosh, look at the camera going. So I was at the MLB store this summer in New York City, and I saw this hat, and this is why I wanted to get it, because I was going to a bunch of games in 1985 when it was the 25th anniversary. One thing that I had that I wish we still had was we actually bought in an auction a banner that hung on the outfield on one of the outfield walls. We got it, and it's like and took it. We were getting it signed by whatever Angels we could find to play on the Angels in 1961 and 1985.
Wow!
And unfortunately, that got lost somewhere along the lines of my parents left California back in 2006, and I'm I should have just took everything. I should have been selfish. I let my parents take stuff. I'm like, no, I should have just took everything, because I know when they got out there, they went to sell stuff to a local shop, and I think my father probably got, very taken advantage of on what he was selling. I have some stuff, but this hat, I think I was texting Michael. I did not want to buy this hat because it was something like $55, and I'm like, I can't justify it. But I kept coming back to it, and I love the corduroy, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do it. Why not?
Nice.
You gotta treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
Cowboy Jack, what are you wearing tonight?
Carrera Cool sunglasses, also known as the Enforcers. An old beat up cowboy hat. Got a little bling going on. And Sunday swagger golf polo. Welcome to the party.
Love it. Well, tonight,
living the gimmick.
I'm gonna throw this to Allan. Allan, what hat do you think that I'm wearing tonight?
I don't have a clue. Usually I have a pretty good idea of, I would say I was thinking Pittsburgh of some kind, but
okay.
Just the P is pretty standard, but yeah, that's as far as I got, I think.
Good guess. Jack, do you had something that you want to say?
It's the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Pittsburgh Pirates. Good guess, but not right. Kevin, do you want to do you know what it is? Have I told you?
I don't know if you have, but they already said Pittsburgh. Let me go with the Portland Beavers.
The Portland Beavers is a tremendous guess. But it is none of those. It is actually the Phoenix Giants from the 1950s. It's actually a hat club hat. And if I'm not mistaken, it was the early days. I don't know if Willie Mays played for the Phoenix Giants at that time. But in a related yet unrelated, there was a Phoenix Suns announcer named Al McCoy who announced for 50 years for the Phoenix Suns.
Rest in power, Al McCoy.
Yes, rest in power. Just died recently, but he used to do the Phoenix Giants games back then. Flash forward to the 80s, I was actually a bat boy for the Phoenix Giants in 1985, and but they actually switched to kind of more modern. But this hat actually came out and specific to the 50s. So, but it's a modern hat, but it's got the original logo in there. So Phoenix Giants. So, and I also have the. Sorry, yeah, it's pretty standard. No, it's pretty standard.
Precising? Usually it looks a little bigger than what you'd see on the Pirates kind of P.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So it's super cool, but a lot of people think that it's the Pirates, but it's orange actually. Yeah. So and then I'm wearing the Kukui's Cerveza baseball. So.
But those Kukuis are what team that is also? Come on, that's the
Inland Empire 66. Yep.
And their full name at one point was the Inland Empire 66ers of San Bernardino, as a rib on the Angels being called the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
There you go. So it all comes full circle.
A lot of Anaheim.
Okay. Too much.
Too much. Yep, too much Anaheim. Yes, sir.
All right, so let's do it live on December 9th. We are doing the 4th annual Diamond Icons Award ceremony, and we have whittled it down to 18 nominees. We've already talked about 6 of them. We're going to have another 6 right now. It is a sudden death playoff form that night. We're all going to get together and have bracketing and then choose who moves on. We have 3 managers, 3 non-players, 3 legends. We have 3 pitchers, 3 infielders, and 3 outfielders. And I have listed them here. And Cowboy Jack, you're going to list nominee number 7.
Vacate your homes. He's come to break your bones. The St. Louis Slaughterhouse, the Pittsburgh Punisher, the bad boy from Baltimore. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Earl the Pearl Weaver. Weaver, who is said to be brought up in St. Louis on the bad side of the street, where even the good side isn't too good, had a managing style easily summed up as pitching, defense, and the 3-run homer. Weaver found his most managerial success with the Baltimore Orioles, winning the American League pennant in 69, 70, 71, 79, each time winning 100 games. Baseball accolades aside, Earl the Pearl Weaver breathes the rarefied air of being included in the Diamond Icon ballot because of his interactions with umpires. Weaver hated umpires with every fiber of his being, and a quick YouTube search will give you countless videos of Earl Weaver, hat turned backwards so he could get as close to the ump without touching them, screaming, pulling out his rule book, and kicking metric tons of dirt onto hapless, crooked umpires. It's fantastic. The man's true Hall of Fame achievement is that he was ejected from a total of 91 games. His rivalry with umpires was so legendary that the American League would schedule certain umpires around games so that they did not share the diamond with Earl Weaver. When Weaver died of a heart attack at 82 years young, he was sleeping in bed with his 49-year-old wife on a Caribbean cruise ship in the middle of the ocean. His death caused a shockwave to pass through baseball so bad and powerful that it claimed the life of Baseball Hall of Famer Stan Musial later that day. Michael Mondragon, your thoughts on Earl Weaver?
I love Earl Weaver with every fiber of my heart. He is everything fiery about baseball that I love. He also, the one thing that I also know about him, he was a chain smoker, so much so that he actually had a little pocket in his jersey that was sewn in where he put his cigarettes. And if you go to Camden Yards, and you look at there's a statue of Earl Weaver in the little courtyard with like Jim Palmer and other.
You've done a video with that before, right?
Yeah, and it actually has the little indentation, or like it's actually concave or convex, I should say. It's like you can actually see where he had his cigarette, so it's actually in his statue. That's how accurate it is. So I love him and all the videos, and it's everything about late 70s baseball that I love.
He's a demolition derby, dude. Like, so fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I add one of my favorite YouTube things, period? People, not safe for work, look up Earl Weaver's Manager's Corner, and you're welcome.
Yes. And there's another one where it's a on-field mic one where he's basically tells the umpires that they're there to F them. So that's the only reason that they were assigned to that game. So great stuff. All right. So thank you. That is number 7, Earl Weaver, to our Diamond Icons nominees. Kevin, you are up.
All right. What's this question mark non-player? What is that? You're throwing me for a loop here. It is Saturday, August 18th, 1951. A doubleheader is going on between the Detroit Tigers and the beloved hometown team, the St. Louis Browns. Now we got to talk about the owner of the team of the Browns, a gentleman named Bill Beck, who we could do a lot of research and deep dives on. So everyone, hashtag do the research. So between games, the Browns had a celebration of the 50th anniversary of the American League. So the celebration was they brought a paper mache cake, and out popped a little guy. Yeah, a little guy named Eddie Goodell. And and by the way, the sponsor for this celebration of the 50th anniversary of the American League was a company called Falstaff Brewing. So we actually had a beer company involved in the publicity of this. They existed for a long time in the Midwest. Unfortunately, they no longer exist. I think they went out of business about 25, 30 years ago. And Falstaff was not happy about this cake stunt. They were looking at Bill Beck like, this is all you got for us? And, and Bill Beck is like, kayfabe, brother, I got a plan, And so his plan was he secretly signed Eddie Goodell to a contract on a Friday when he knew the American League office wouldn't see this contract until that Monday. So the good old days where they probably just sent it by telegraph or something like that, in the 1950s. Yeah. All right. So he comes up. I'm going to do a formal intro for a second. So the jersey he's wearing is actually a jersey from a 9-year-old bat boy. So, and it's so kayfabe that even like his teammates did not even know that Eddie was going to play. But the bottom of the first inning, the leadoff batter was about to come up, and the manager signals and makes a call to bring up Eddie Goodell as a pinch hitter for the leadoff batter. The umpire is like, no, it's calling shenanigans. The umpire instantly calling shenanigans, and Bill Beck and the manager were smart enough to have a copy of Eddie Goodell's contract to show to the umpire to give us the bat. So let me give you his introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to play from Chicago, Illinois, standing in at 3'7" and weighing in at a slim trim 60 pounds. Here's number 1/8, Eddie Goodell. So there you go with that. So now we got to talk this about as quickly as possible here. Eddie Goodell was under strict orders not to attempt to move the bat off his shoulders, as you can see there. When Bill Beck got the impression that Goodell might be tempted to swing at a pitch, he warned Goodell that he had taken out $1 million insurance policy on his life, and that he would be standing at the roof of the stadium with a rifle prepared to kill Goodell if he even looked like he was going to swing. And Vic had carefully trained Goodell to assume a tight crouch. You see how tight his crouch is at the plate. He measured Goodell's strike zone in that stance and claimed it was just 1.5 inches.
Wow.
So, however, when Goodell came to the plate, he banned the crouch he'd been taught for a pose that Beck described as, quote, a fair approximation of Joe DiMaggio's classic stance. I guess you can guys see that there. Leading Beck to fear, oh my God, he's going to swing. And so, if you see there, the catcher didn't even squat. He went to his knees. And the pitcher, a guy by the name of Bob Kane, laughing at the absurdity of all this, actually had the pitch to him. Goodell took a stance, and the Tigers catcher offered the pitcher a piece of strategy. All right, you ready? This is very insightful. Keep it low. So Kane delivered 4 consecutive balls, all high. The first 2 minutes were legitimate pitches, trying to get strikes. The last 2 were half-speed tosses. Goodell took his base. Meanwhile, you talk about a worker. He stopped twice during his trot to first base to bow the crowd. So he got to first base. He was replaced by a pinch runner. The 18,369 fans gave Goodell a standing ovation. Eddie Goodell got paid $100 for his day as an MLB ball player.
That is crazy.
And you imagine later, MLB was probably in an uproar over all this. Let me quote Bill Beck directly. He was, by golly, the best darn midget who ever played big league ball. He was also the only one.
Yeah. and the reason why I have him as a non-player, it's almost like he's technically a player. He had one at bat.
Technically it's not an at bat because a walk is not considered an at bat.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so right,
he has
so
1,000
on base.
He's an
percentage.
asterisk.
Yes.
He's an asterisk.
Yes. So he is in the non-player category, even though he's technically a player and had a contract. But he is definitely like he was instructed not to swing, which is well. I mean, that could be a player as well. So anyway, so he's in the non-player category. But what a legacy.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the end of it. He unfortunately had a sad demise. Later in his life, he did work for Bill Beck many more times, but yeah, unfortunately, he had a very unfortunate passing in his mid-30s. We'll just leave it at that.
Yes.
It's a wild story.
It is. It's fantastic. And definitely worthy of being a 2024 Diamond Icon. So that is number 8. And Allan, you are up with number 9.
Right. Our next Diamond Icon nominee. I had it down as the other guy first, but that's all right. I can make the change. Born October 22nd, 1973, the ageless wonder and one of my all-time favorite players, Ichiro started his career in Japan in 1992. Until 2000, playing for the Oryx Blue Waves. In 2001, Ichiro became the first Japanese-born player to be posted and signed in Major League Baseball. His rookie season in Seattle, he collected an astounding 242 hits, earning himself the Rookie of the Year and the AL MVP. He would play for teams such as the Blue Wave, the Mariners, the Yankees, Marlins, and then finishing back in Seattle. Ichiro's legend continued to grow over the years and became famous for his All-Star Game post speeches. He would speak after the manager would speak. In 2002, the AL All-Star manager was Joe Torre. Joe Torre delivered a very Joe Torre monotone speech, as he typically would. When he was completed, he turned to Ichiro and asked if he had anything to say. To the surprise of many of his teammates that weekend, and Jim Leland recalls Ichiro popping up and as loud as he could say, "Let's kick their fucking fat asses." This is a tradition that carried on for years, allowing the AL not to lose for 10 seasons. Known in the locker rooms as a bit of a prankster, Ichiro learned Spanish to trash talk opposing players. He would often vary his pregame meal of chicken wings between 7 and 9, depending on how he weighed in that day. In an interview with Bob Costas, Ichiro was asked his favorite expression. This was a couple seasons into the league. Ichiro responded with, "August in Kansas City is hotter than 2 rats in a fucking sock." Later, Bob Costas would say that's one of his favorite interview moments of all time. Recently, Ichiro played in a game versus female high schoolers at the age of 50, where he pitched 116 pitch complete game shutout, topping out at a speed of 86 miles per hour. The international hit king has 4,367 hits between his time between NPB and MLB. He's a 17-time All-Star, 4-time MVP, 17-time Gold Glover, 9-time batting champion, and this summer we'll be going into Cooperstown, if I had to guess, and I'll hopefully be seeing him there. So, kampai, Ichiro.
Yes. Kampai.
Hey, Allan, how many times have you seen Ichiro play?
Probably in the 30s would be my guess, because
Okay.
I didn't start really going to games till after 2000, I think 2005, I think, is when I started going down to games a little bit more frequently. So I got a good run of his time in Seattle. And I also saw him when he came back with the Marlins, and I think once with the Yankees. So
yeah, I saw him with the Marlins. I saw him with the Mariners a few times, and then I think that I could have saw him with the Yankees, but he didn't play. He wasn't playing. He might have been hurt or had lesser playing time during that time.
yeah,
But
for sure.
like, we were talking about it before. It's like, because obviously Pete Rose is the hit king, right? But what we talk about what a modern thing to do for Ichiro to have all these hits in Japan and then come in Major League Baseball. It would almost be impossible for a player from Major League Baseball to go to Japan and do a similar thing. It's just incredible to even think about.
Well, he got 1,200 hits while he was in Japan over 8 seasons, and then still came to Major League Baseball and hit over 3,000. Like, it's insane numbers. And I think he should be 100% when it comes to the voting this year. But
no one has ever been 100%, so it's not going to happen.
Was it Mariano?
I thought Mariano was a unanimous.
Was he? Okay, that might be the only one because.
And I think Jeter was too.
I'll have to look. I'll have to check the because it seemed like there would always be like 1 or 2 people who would never vote for a guy in his first year eligibility, no matter what. Maybe those writers finally died and aged out, which should happen.
Yeah, he's an incredible player, and even like it's so personable, and actually there's a great video of him. He was a huge Michael Jordan fan, and so he there's a video of him meeting Michael Jordan, and you would think that like people meeting him now, it's like he was so starstruck, and it was just so amazing to see. So again, like it's so funny how Michael Jordan is so involved in baseball. I was just watching a thing with Jazz Chisholm about how he has his new Air Jordans, basically line of shoes. So Michael Jordan is.
Did you hear that story about Jazz meeting Michael?
That was an incredible story. Tell it real quick.
I guess he went up to get an autograph from Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan said to him, like, "Hey, one day you need to be famous. You need to do well enough where I want your autograph."
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said. That's what he said to Jazz. I'm like, now Jazz is there.
That's it.
That's it.
All right. So Ichiro, number 9 on our list. Number 10, Cowboy Jack Durango, you are up.
Much like the Baseball Brew Crew's first international signing, the big hurt Allan Jepsen, Morgana the Kissing Bandit is very large north of the border. Morgana has been called the Grande Dame of baseball and baseball's unofficial mascot. And Brew Crew, you know how I feel about mascots, but Morgana is something so special. She is the only baseball mascot that I can endorse. Born in 1947 to a very poor family, she was disowned by her mother and raised by her grandparents until the age of 13, when she ran away from the Catholic boarding school she was attending. After a month of sleeping on the streets of Baltimore and eating out of trash cans, she was hired as an exotic dancer and began her lucrative career that made her millions of dollars over her lifetime. A baseball fan since a young age, a 22-year-old Morgana was attending a Cincinnati Reds game one fateful August night in 1969. Her friend dared her to rush the field and plant a kiss on the real hit king. Morgana went for it, and a legend was born. Morgana became an attraction at MLB games and ascended into immortality, and by the 1990s, she had stormed the field and kissed 37 major league players, 12 NBA players, dozens of minor league players, various umpires, managers, and owners, and on one occasion, the San Diego Chicken. Morgana paid the price for fame. She paid the price that all champions pay in their pursuit of greatness. She was beaten by security guards in Cincinnati, suffered a slew of injuries from jumping over the stands to the field. She spent some jail time in a garbage dump backwoods hellscape named Anaheim, California, and was arrested and charged with trespassing over 20 times. In my humble opinion, gentlemen, with baseball stats coming in at 60, 23, and 39, the question isn't if Morgana the Kissing Bandit will be named a Diamond Icon. The question is when. Allan Jepsen, how do you feel about Morgana the Kissing Bandit?
Oh, that was too good. I've only seen YouTube videos of it, probably more so from seeing them from you guys. So I don't know as much of the history behind it, but it's always entertaining to me.
So good. So
every
good.
year we think she's gonna like be our number one choice, and every year she ends up running against somebody we're like,
Yeah.
oh man, we can't.
This is her year. This is her year.
This is her year.
After doing a deep dive and like finding out her humble
dive,
like
And Michael,
her story is wild, and she went from literally being homeless on the streets at 14 to being internationally recognized years later, and she parlayed that into making millions of dollars as being a traveling exotic dancer who did more like stand-up comedy bits.
Mhm.
So
okay.
yeah,
She's been in exile for like a really long time.
Yeah,
Really
she retired in 99.
Yeah. Now,
I think
Jack,
she made her money and walked, man. Good for her.
Did you see the bonus, Jack? Did you see the bonus on the screen there?
I do see that. To Jack, breast wishes, Morgan.
That obviously
Yes.
for you.
That's
What a
from, that's,
signature.
from, that's from the Cowboy Jack archives right there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
I took
also,
it down off my wall and sent it to you. Yeah.
also, one of her last appearances, and a lot of people don't realize this, she was in the movie Kingpin. So yes, during the big scene where
she came in. Did she kiss
Bill Murray? Yes, and I forgot to say that, Kevin. We went to it's in Reno where they have the big bowling alley, and I forgot to tell you that was the location that happened.
Well, I knew the finals of Kingpin was shot at the National Bowling Stadium, right there in beautiful Reno, Nevada, the biggest little city in the world. You know?
That's right, and Morgana was there during that film.
I don't
That's
remember
one of her last.
Shoot, how can I forget that? Kingpin's a hell of a fun movie.
There you go. So that is number 10. Number 11, Allan, you are up.
All right. Our next Diamond Icon nominee is Ozzie Smith, the Wizard of Oz. Osborne Earl Smith, born December 26, 1954 in Mobile, Alabama. Famous for dazzling on the field like Morgana, but his preference was backflips when he'd run onto the field. He was arguably one of the best defensive shortstops of all time. He earned himself 15 Gold Gloves, which is crazy. In 2014, he led the charge with the backing of Anheuser-Busch to make opening day a national holiday. He gathered 100,000 signatures in under 30 days, which triggered a review with the Obama administration. Ultimately, it didn't pan out. Luckily, I met Ozzie Smith 2016 in Cooperstown. It was a meet and greet. I paid him for an autograph, as well as like many players do that weekend, like Jimmy Hart. He was so good with his time. Like he didn't make it rushed, but he was around to talk, and I let him know he's one of my favorite shortstops of all time, and he just thanked me for being a fan, which was nice. In 1992, he graced our screens in one of the best Simpsons episodes of all time, Homer at Bat. 10 years later, Ozzie Smith was a Hall of Famer. Ozzie had 2,400 hits, a 262 lifetime average, 15 All-Star Game appearances, a Silver Slugger, an NLCS MVP, and a World Series championship in 85. Ozzie Smith, this bud's for you. And I'm sure, Michael, he was probably one of your favorite players as a St. Louis fan.
You know, growing up, he was he actually became a Cardinal after I was a couple years after, because he was playing for the Padres, and he got traded for actually one of my favorite players at the time, Gary Templeton. Oh. And so that it was kind of bittersweet. Yet, watching him play, you totally took him for granted. The way that he played, and especially if you think about it, he went from natural grass. There's a very famous video of him, yes, where it actually, I think Jeff Burrows hit it, and it actually hit a rock, so he said, and he actually had to reach back with his hand. It was not his non-glove hand. He caught it and then threw it to first base. And it's like, he actually moved to AstroTurf from Jack Murphy Stadium. And one of the things is you definitely took him for granted. He wasn't even a great hitter. His home run in the 85 NLCS against the Dodgers, it was like he didn't hit home runs. And the fact that he had that many hits is kind of incredible to me. Like what you said, 2,400?
Yeah, it was above 2,400, and he was a, like 262 hitter. So like it was never anything super crazy, but like he was probably one of the last of the softer hitting shortstops before that era changed, and now with power hitting shortstops. Yeah,
because like Barry Larkin came in, and that became like the model, Cal Ripken, those types of models. But yeah, but Ozzie Smith, and I can say that this Diamond Icon nominee is a friend of the show. He actually did a video for us too. So we actually met him in a little bit of a way. But that's great that you saw him during Cooperstown. So phenomenal.
What was his rate, dude? What was his rate for the autograph?
Most guys were between 50 and 100. I just found it funny that he was he was across the street from Lou Piniella, who I also got, who Lou Piniella was next to Jimmy Hart. And I was like, it's Hall of Fame induction weekend, and Jimmy Hart standing there with the microphone,
being Jimmy Hart,
the megaphone, being Jimmy Hart. And I was just like, I really should have got an autograph on a ball from Jimmy Hart.
Come on, baby, come get it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Pretty much. It was just like, it was like Hall of Famers up and down the street, and then it was Jimmy Hart.
That's awesome. And by the way, second pro wrestling reference tonight. A little bit of foreshadowing? Don't know. All right. So, Kevin, you're going to finish us out with our 12th Diamond Icon nominee.
All right. Coming to the mound at this time from Quincy, Illinois, standing at 6'4" and weighing in at 265. Hold on. Someone's in my hang on, what? Sorry, 217 pounds. All right, we have the Big Daddy, Rick Russell. So, like maybe the least known guy, eventually on a ballot, but he had a hell of a career. He played in Major League Baseball from 1972 until 1991. with 2 tenures as a Cub. He also played on the Yankees, the Pirates, and the Giants. His record, 214 wins, 191 losses. So I'm like, yeah, not a great record. Not great win for him, but his ERA was 3.37 for his career. Jack, so I can explain this to you. That means he gave up a run every 3 innings he pitched, which is actually really impressive throughout his entire career. So clearly the dude played for some bad teams. But forget all that. He was a 3-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove winner. Look at that man. Look at all that beef and all that man there. 2-time Gold Glove winner, folks. And he's let me see. He was on the 84 Cubs, which made it to the National League Championship Series. But he also was in 2 World Series. So, he played on some bad teams, but he was on a couple good ones as well. He was on the Yankees in 81, which lost to the Dodgers. And he was on the infamous 1989 Giants team, which lost the A's, where that series famously got interrupted by an earthquake. But he was also, now he is in not only the Cubs Hall of Fame, but he's also in the Giants Hall of Fame. Also, this is Jack, you might appreciate this. At 40 years old, in 1989, he was great enough that he was the starting pitcher for the National League team in the All-Star game. How about that, 40 years old, Jack?
Wow.
That's something you could probably pull off, I would think, right?
Yeah.
So, for the baseball nerds, Rick Russell has a higher career WAR than Bob Feller, Sandy Koufax, Juan Marichal, and Don Drysdale. This fact is fun for us, but won't be fun for him. But he is one of only 2 pitchers in Major League Baseball to give up a home run to Barry Bonds and Hank Aaron. How about that?
That's
I
crazy.
don't have any record, though, if you ever faced Michael Mondragon. Sorry to tell you that. And so a fun thing, too, is that he was actually teammates with his older brother, Paul, on the Cubs, and they actually had a combined shutout. Oh, wow, you got that right. I didn't even tell you that. Thank you. They actually had a combined shutout versus the Dodgers in 1975, which is the only brother pair to pull that feat off after 1900. How about that? But what you always really want to know is, why is he Big Daddy? Let me tell you why he's Big Daddy. I mean, you saw him. Sure, he's 217 pounds, quote unquote. Portly sized man, but people said he was fast for his size. But hey, he was a pitcher. But hey, you know what? Back when he was playing, you know what? Jack, are you aware of this? Pitchers were batting at one point. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, make sure you're aware of that. Good job. So
I saw that kid. I heard that kid Ohtani did it.
Yeah, you're right. So back in his day, Rick Russell, Big Daddy, was good enough of a hitter where there was times he was actually used as a pinch hitter in games where he wasn't pitching. And let me close with this crazy fact. Get ready for this, ladies and gentlemen. On his stat line, Rick Big Daddy Russell got, are you ready for this? 4 triples.
That's amazing. That's
Big Daddy. Bringing home the bacon, Rick Russell.
So we saw it with David Wells. And you see it here with Big Daddy. And actually, this is actually, I remember this card because this card is actually backwards. Rick Russell is actually on the left, and Paul Russell is actually on the right. But I remember this card specifically. It's from 77. I guess 70. Is it 77 tops? It says 77 at the bottom, but it might be 78.
I think it's a 78 card.
Yeah, I think it's 78. But so I remember seeing this, and I used to have a friend who was a big Cubs fan. And so I actually saw on TV, even though I was here in Phoenix, I was actually watching a Cubs game, and I was like, oh my God, like this guy, he doesn't look like an athlete at all. And man, he had a great career. And this will show you how far we've come. Like these days, body shaming is against the rules. Look at this cover from Sports Illustrated from 1991. And so a true giant. Okay, he's played for the Giants. Okay, but the caption on the side says, Rick Russell, all 240 or more pounds of him, is 12-3 and has San Francisco on top. They body shamed him on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
And you said that's 1991?
It's or 89 actually.
89.
Okay, because I was saying, because 91 was last year, 89 was the year at 40 years old, as I mentioned. Look at it, 12-3. He was guarding the All-Star game that year.
It has no
and led his team to World
relevance
Series.
It has no relevance to his record either.
And exactly, and so he was one of those players who like a Lance Lynn, who just like always would get you 12 wins during the year. He may lose 12, but it's like he was so consistent, and he was just one of those players that was always just great. And obviously it wasn't a superstar, but and Kevin, we were talking about like Tommy John is another kind of type of that player. You know, he had a similar record. Just one of those reliable guys that just went out there and pitched. And so one of the things that you'll notice with the diamond icons, and I'm actually going to put up all of the nominees so far in here. So all of these players have intangible qualities that we love and that we admire, but also that if you dig a little bit deeper on these players, they have much more of a great history that we think that they deserve to be talked about more. And obviously there's always going to be like the Hall of Fame. That's going to be the big deal. But this is our Hall of Fame. So we definitely want to crown the people that make us happy in baseball. Whenever I saw Rick Russell pitching, Ozzie Smith playing, Morgana running on the field, Ichiro batting, the fact that Eddie Goodell even happened, Earl Weaver, taunting the umpires. And that's another thing too, the robo umpires, Earl Weaver, how do you think he would approve of the robo umpires? I think he'd go up there and punch out up the stairs. But again, these are awesome. We have 6 more that are coming on November 11th. So we will be debuting them, not next show, but the show afterwards. So definitely hang around for that. And then we have our big celebration on December 9th. Thank you guys for those. You did outstanding on all of that. We're going to close out with a segment of Rest in Power. And unfortunately, another icon of baseball passed away. And it was Fernando Valenzuela. For those who are too young to appreciate the contributions that this man made, not only to baseball, but baseball relations, to relations in Southern California. If you don't know Fernando's story, it's one that we're going to give you a little bit of history on, and we're gonna go in depth a little bit here, but definitely seek it out, because he was not only a great man, a great player, but he was a person who brought communities together in baseball. When you kind of assume that things are good in communities, especially like around Dodger Stadium, everybody's a Dodger fan, right? Well, that wasn't really the case back when Dodger Stadium was built. It was actually built, and there was a lot of Mexican Americans that were displaced during that. There was a lot of hard feelings during the transition of that. Fernando actually brought Mexican fans back to baseball, inspired so many people to become baseball fans and cheer on Fernando. He was known as El Toro, was the first player to win the Cy Young and Rookie of the Year award in 1981. He won the Gold Glove in 86, threw a no-hitter in 1990 as a Dodger against the Cardinals, who he would later play for. He played 17 seasons in Major League Baseball. The Dodgers just retired his 34. He was an announcer for the Dodgers. Again, there's so much complexity to this, but I wanted to play a quick video about his background and his humble beginnings. And Kevin is definitely going to be a fan of this, because he'll probably speak about the man who's doing the narration in this. So let's check this out right now.
Fernando Valenzuela is the talk of the baseball world. The 20-year-old Dodger rookie southpaw has started 6 Major League games this year with these results. 6 victories, 4 of them shutouts, and he's given up just 1 run in each of the other 2 games. This is Ciudad Obregon, a town of 150,000 in Sonora, Mexico. Fernando was born November 1st, 1960. His family lived about 12 miles from Obregon in a village called Echoaquila, population 150. Fernando's parents, married 40 years, still live in this small 5-bedroom adobe brick house. It's been their residence for the past 39 years.
Señor Valenzuela, mi nombre es Tu Nehan, locutores deportivo, venga por favor. Locutores deportivo en la televisión en Los Angeles.
Wednesday night, Fernando gave me a letter addressed to his mother and father, which made my visit almost official. The Valenzuelas told me they were simple and primitive people as they invited me into their home. Fernando's room was just like he explained it to me, small, with 1 bed. That's where he and his 5 brothers slept. The 6 sisters all slept in another room. The family was friendly and reserved as we exchanged words about their brother of whom they were so proud. Like many other youngsters, Fernando didn't want to work on his father's farm. And school wasn't Fernando's forte either. He went to this 1-room schoolhouse until he turned 15. Then he dropped out to play baseball. The baseball field was just a hop, skip, and a jump from this house. And while he slept at home, it was on this baseball field he spent most of his time. The field had no backstop, paper bases, no fences, and tree stumps were used as benches. An outdoor gym for a kid with a mind of his own, to get strong and to someday be a baseball player. The only thing this field has in common with Dodger Stadium, a pitcher's mound. The Dodger scout who found Fernando, Mike Brito, often traveled deep into Mexico.
The first thing that attracted me on Fernando was his fastball. I noticed that his ball got a good movement, the ball sink and tear. Another thing that really impressed me was the location. When he threw the fastball, he never threw the fastball right on the middle, always hit the corners and always kept the ball low. Besides, he showed me a great curve, side arm and 3/4. That's what really thing that really impressed me when I saw him here in Mexico, in Chihuahua.
And while nearly every Mexican League coach told Fernando he was too young to pitch, the Dodgers bought him from a team called Puebla after his first year for $150,000. He was assigned to San Antonio, and less than a year later, last September, he was called up by the Dodgers, and in 10 relief appearances did not give up an earned run. This year, he is 6-0, and he's hitting .315 with 2 game-winning base hits.
He won the hearts of all the Dodger fans. He's very, very popular, and the charisma that he displays out there is second to none. We're very proud of him.
Naturally, every fan, every baseball expert is wondering how long will this phenomenon last. Fernando isn't wondering, though. He's proven with a 6-0 record he can pitch anywhere, including the major leagues. For today, Stu Nahan at Chihuahua, Mexico.
So I actually recorded that. I think it was like when HD TV came out. The Dodgers had their own HD station. I remember recording that, and my friend Emilio uploaded it to his YouTube, and it's the only place that video is.
Wow.
So I stole it back from him for this show.
As you should.
Yes, and but I remember him pitching. This was always kind of the signature. Like he would look up, and it was kind of like almost like possessed when he would pitch, and it was a very unique pitching style. The actual guy in that video, his name was Mike Brito. If you watch Dodger games, he would be behind the plate with a radar gun, but a very distinctive hat.
Oh yeah.
And it turns out he's actually Cuban. And one of his claim to fame, which I didn't even know, Mike Brito died in 2022. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that he is famous for, and it actually translates to a game, a recent game actually, So in '88, he was before game 1 of the '88 World Series. He actually was asked by Tommy Lasorda what he wanted Brito to scout what pitch that Eckersley would pitch on his last pitch. And he knew what pitch he was going to pitch, and basically that's what they told Kirk Gibson, and that's how he hit the home run. So, as you know, Freddie Freeman just did a similar thing. I wonder if obviously they knew Nestor Cortez, a starting pitcher. They knew what he was going to pitch. He's going to pitch strikes. But that was a very interesting. Mike Brito scouted Fernando, but also was actually indirectly involved in that '88 Kirk Gibson homer.
That's cool.
So incredible. What's your remembrances, Kevin, of Fernando?
One thing that people might not understand is just that he was a phenomenon in Los Angeles in 1981. And the other, and not just for that, but he helped baseball because people may not remember baseball in 1981 had a strike. So it was a strike shortened season. So you might say that Fernando might have helped keep baseball relevant and got it popular back. I can't say it got to like mid 90s level where, 94 season got cut short and no World Series. But, people probably really down, and Fernando brought he changed the culture for Dodgers. I don't think you have as much of a Mexican tie-in to Los Angeles Dodgers without Fernando. He changed the entire franchise. And I would think for the better,
Absolutely.
In more ways than you have a bigger fan base, more passionate fan base, and I will say he was really born in 1960. I still want to call shenanigans on that. I don't know about that, but
yeah, that was funny because even in that video they were saying like he was too young to pitch, and the knock against him that he was actually older than he let on.
That's what I always thought. There's no way he was 21 years old when he was pitching in 1981 in the World Series. I didn't buy that for a second, but you know what? That video might have given relevance to it because that was shot during 1981. I gotta give some love, lastly, to Stu Nahan, a local broadcaster who was in many films. He was in, I want to say either Rocky 2 or Rocky 3, but for those of you who saw Fast Times at Ridgemont High, yes, that is the man who interviewed Sean Penn's character in that film.
Oh, that's right.
That's all. That was like, when I first saw Fast Times, I was like, it's Stu Nahan.
That's hilarious. Jack, did you know of Fernando before his passing?
So sadly, not until his passing, but since his passing, it's been a fun ride just learning about him. So yeah, that's the fun of baseball, man. Deep dive into history.
Yeah, Allan, do you have any? Go ahead.
Oh, just unfortunately, we had to lose him, man.
Yeah. Allan?
I always just loved his wind up. I mean, it was always like you don't see the high leg kick anymore. I mean, I think the last high leg kick was Bronson Arroyo. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like it's just and just the uniform style. It's just I love that old style uniform, and it looks like those pony cleats.
Yes.
So
yeah,
no, that's pretty much what I remember of him.
That's awesome.
And Michael, who throws the screwball anymore?
I was just going to say the same thing. There's not many people. I mean, I remember when I think it was Daisuke Matsuzaka had the gyro ball, or Kodai Senga has the ghost fork.
Ghost fork.
Yeah. So, but the screwball is one of those lost pitches that's obviously so effective, and so I want to also make mention of this. So Fernando Mania predated Hulkamania. And so a lot of people think like Hulk Hogan, it was all like Fernando Mania was in the early 80s, obviously 81.
Fernando Mania was running wild in Los Angeles in 1981, brother. Let me tell you.
Yeah. So Hulkamania came after that. And obviously WrestleMania came after that. So Fernando Mania was actually predates any of that stuff, and that tells you how big that Fernando mania was. That like it became like almost like an 80s like pop culture phenomenon, and he was everything to the Dodgers. And Kevin, you're gonna love this one too.
Yes, sir.
He actually played for the Angels in '91, but the
Yes.
Midland Angels as well.
Oh, I know he's
Yes.
on the Midland Angels. I actually got to go to a
That's
game
so
there
good.
at that stadium where Fernando is there. I went to go on Midland Angels game in 1989.
Did you really?
That tin roof, at that tin stadium. Look at that stadium. Look at that seating, Jack. Oh my goodness.
I love it.
That hat is so
Yeah.
good.
Oh, so good. And I think it was the Arkansas Travelers actually had a video footage of him pitching, and it was like they had so many fans there that they actually lined the fans in the outfield. And remember we were talking about J.R.
J.R. Richard?
J.R. Richard, yes. We're
Yes,
talking
sir.
about him. He actually pitched here in Phoenix. They did a similar thing where it was overflow crowd. They put him literally sitting at the base of the wall, and and the footage there was that. So, but he was 3-1 with a 1.96 ERA for Midland. Actually pitched with the Angels. He actually pitched for the Phillies, Orioles, the Padres, and then finished with the Cardinals, kind of amazingly enough. But like an outstanding career, and even a better person, and really one of those players that we talk about, like actually improved race relations when it comes to being around baseball. Again, the sentiment of the Dodgers and the Mexican community was not strong, and it actually suffered a lot. And there's a lot of things that Fernando did just by playing, and people got into it. It actually all that evaporated, and he's well known. So tip of the cap to Fernando Valenzuela, El Toro.
El Toro, yes.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Rest in
So that's our show for this week. We also we want you to like and subscribe on our X account, on our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. Guys, any last words before we sign off for this week?
No.
I'd just love to say thanks for joining us on the Diamond Exchange, the crown jewel of craft beer and baseball.
Love it.
Michael, can I have a moment?
Please do.
I've had an interesting year in baseball. Let me just say that. The player that I love the most in my heart it currently is a man named Shohei Ohtani, who went from the Angels to the Dodgers. There's that. I've been an Angels fan for 40 plus years, but I've been disappointed enough with them to where I famously said here, I was boycotting them after the aftermath of Tyler Skaggs' death. I think I didn't go to a game for a year or two. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to just lay back, step off. And this year, the whole time, I'm like watching the player I love the most right now, Shohei Ohtani. And Michael, can you verify I'm not a bandwagon jumper on Ohtani?
Not a bit. We were there for his first home run at Angel Stadium.
Yes.
We were there for it.
And I was invested in seeing what the heck was happening here. And I was just like, please come to Anaheim. And he did, and it was a great run. But part of my disappointment in the Angels is that they would not make any kind of investment in this. I've been multiple disappointed for a few years, to the point where I consulted my baseball psychiatrist, who literally told me a story about how his father was a fan of a franchise for decades, and the ownership made him turn on his team. And it's been good for me to consult because I can't believe I'm about to do this.
Look at this. Look at this.
I'm just done with the Angels. I'll leave it at that. Oh my
Wow.
I did not.
Wow.
Wait, you had that ready just in case you thought I was really going to say this?
You know, I mean, they do say that the truest of fans stick through thick and thin. And Kevin, way to jump that bandwagon, champ.
Mariners fan. Yes. Yes.
I didn't tell Michael, but I think he knew where I was going.
You've joined the dark side, dude. You've joined the dark side.
That's all right. You know what? At least I upgraded to a Major League Baseball team, right, Jack?
That is true. That is true. I'm glad to see you getting away from that garbage heap Anaheim. So
it's way too.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it, dude.
I'm gonna go on the Ohtani run. Ohtani's my guy, and there's a lot to love about that team right now. Between Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and I'm like
fun team to watch. I mean, they're up 4-0 right now in the bottom of the sixth.
I didn't see the score, and that's not why. I'm sure a lot of Angels fans, my Angel friends, are gonna be mad at me for this. But I'm like, you know what? I gave them chance after chance, and they have. There's no reason for me to invest in that franchise.
Good for you, man. Way to take a stand against that horrible organization.
Thanks, Jack.
Well, Kevin, we bid you, or the Angels bid you adieu, but the Dodgers welcome you with open arms. That is our show for this week. It is the heel turn of all heel turns. Kevin Lyon has moved on. For Allan Jepsen, Cowboy Jack Durango, and Kevin LA Dodgers Lyon, I'm Michael Mondragon. We'll see you soon. Oh my gosh.